My name is Lavern Tom, and I am a lifestyle counselor here. And I have the privilege of teaching one of the classes that is part of our cooking school class. And this class is called the Raw Reward. Now, I know when you heard the word raw, you're probably like, that's not for me. But before you come to any conclusion, I just want to make it clear that when I say raw, I'm referring to fruits, I'm referring to vegetables, I'm referring to nuts. And I do understand that for most of us who are, grew up in the islands or whatever our cultures may be, it's not easy to change 1,000 years of tradition and revert back to like 100% plant-based or raw food overnight. So I totally understand that. And there's a lady by the name of Margaret Mead who said it so nice. She said, it's easier to change a man's religion than to change his diet. And that is so true. So I just want you to commit the next few moments to learn about the rewards of eating raw, and then you can make a decision after that. So why are fruits and vegetables, why are they good for your physical health? And we're going to look at some of the reasons or some of the benefits of raw foods. Now, one of the first ones is it heals your receptocytes. The receptocytes are actually proteins that they stay on the surface of each cell, and they act as little receivers or messengers where they hear signals and then they tell the cell what to do, either to divide or to die or to allow substances to enter or to exit, right? And so sometimes this cell receptors or receptocytes, they get damaged. And so when you are on a raw diet or eating these fruits and vegetables, it helps to heal those receptocytes. Now, another reason, it starves cancer cells. Another one too is that it improves your digestion. A lot of people have a lot of digestive issues, and when they do turn to the raw diet, it actually improves it. Also, it's very alkaline, raw foods. Now, a way to describe that would be when you burn something, there's always a residue, right? Or the ashes of it left. Now, similarly, foods that you eat, they also leave a residue, which is called a metabolic waste. So if you're eating, and it can be like an alkaline, neutral, or acidic. So if you're eating foods that are healthy, they will leave a alkaline ash or residue behind. Or if you're eating foods that are unhealthy, it leaves a acidic waste behind, and then that affects your blood. And if it affects your blood, especially if your blood becomes very acidic, then increases your risk, or you become more vulnerable to different diseases that we see in this day. Now, other reasons, weight reduction, because raw food is low in calories. Also good for your mental health. You're able to be more focused. People say that there's clarity of mind. And even for me, going onto this, I'm not purely raw, but going onto a plant-based diet, I've noticed more clarity in my thinking, in my in intuition as well. And it also gives us our nutrients and vitamins, and just for overall healing. Now, some other benefits, okay, less preparation time. It also can save you money. It changes your taste buds. And for those who are allergic to dairy or soy or whatever, you can just turn to fruits and vegetables, and that can help you. Now, I would caution you as well, because a lot of people, they're so excited about this whole raw diet, and they're like, oh, let me get on it very quickly. But if you don't plan it well, you can be nutritionally unbalanced, and you can have weak muscles, weak bones. So if you're going to transition into this as well, or start to adapt this lifestyle, you want to plan it strategically as well and be practical about it. Now, have you heard of this? The standard American diet, or the SAD diet. Sadly, Americans or most Western countries who are into fast foods and things like that, they're really malnourished. You get plenty of calories from these highly refined foods. And you know what? You also increase your free radical load, because a lot of these foods like fries and burgers, then there's not enough nutrient content in there. And if you add that with the sedentary lifestyle, people are not really exercising, not eating right, then it can lead to obesity or all other related diseases. And even the sad thing as well, we even export the SAD, or the Standard American Diet. Now, various population groups around the world following a plant-based diet tends to have strikingly low cancer rate. And you can actually see that. I'm from the islands, and I know back in the days, especially in the rural areas of the islands, you won't find any issues with cancer, diabetes, and whatnot. But now, with all this populations are trading their diets for the Western diet, I'm seeing a lot of cancer in my family. I'm seeing diabetes, and it's just so sad because we're transitioning from the most simple, nutritious diets, and we think that this food is actually doing something for us, all this fast food, but it's damaging us even on a cellular level. But don't be discouraged. I know you hear all this stuff and it's like, so what are we going to do? Are we going to eat grass? Are we going to eat leaves? Like, I've had friends, and even before I became transition into a plant-based diet, I used to really wonder, what do these vegans eat? Like, I'm not gonna be filled if I'm eating lettuce every day. It doesn't make sense. But we're gonna talk a little bit about that. Proper nutrition. And I put this up here because it's a very simple explanation. Nutrition is the science of food and its relationship to what? To health. Nutrients are chemicals in foods that are used by the body for what? For growth, for maintenance, and for energy. So lack of nutrients, right? It can result in undernutrition, which can lead to other deficiency syndromes or even excess of macronutrients. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Like, it can lead to something. So even in it can lead to other diseases. So even in talking about just nutrition, there still has to be a balance in it, and we need to keep that in mind as we go through. So in nutrition, there's two categories. We have the macronutrients and the micronutrients. Now, with the macro means large amounts. So this, your body requires a relative large amount of this daily. And so under the macronutrients, you have your carbohydrates, you have your lipids or your fats, and you also have your protein. Now, carbs are your body's preferred source of fuel. It's easy for the body to convert carbohydrates immediately into usable energy, unlike the fat or protein. And once it uses the energy, it can also store the rest to be used later. So under carbohydrates, you have complex carbs and you have simple carbs as well. Now, your complex carb would be like your legumes, your whole grains, your bread, your rice, pasta. And then you have simple carbs, which is like what? Your milk, your candy, your table sugar, honey, maple syrup. So you can see that with the simple carbs, it will affect your sugar level quicker than if you're going on a complex carb. It just stabilizes your sugar a little bit more. Okay, so with the fats, again, fats are very important as well. They help with your brain functioning, overall cell functioning, protecting your body's organs, and even it helps you, if you didn't know, fats helps you to absorb vitamins, and they also supply fatty acids that the body needs but cannot make, like the omega-3 fatty acid as well. And they're also an energy reserve. You have people who, let's say, are overweight, right? And if you put them on a fast, they can go on for days on a water fast, but because they have the fat, that's the reserve energy that they can use later on in place of food. Okay? And then we also have your proteins. Now, a lot of people, when they think of proteins, I know when they think of the plant-based diet, they usually ask like, so where do you guys get your proteins? Because most people say you get your proteins from your fish, you get your proteins from your meat, your chicken. But you know what? God is an intelligent God. And when he gave the original diet, you know, he made sure that this diet will provide the necessary macronutrients, which includes proteins. And we know that proteins are the body's building blocks for muscle, for the brain, for nervous system, for other things such as the blood, the skin, the hair, and you name it. And protein also transports oxygen and other important nutrients, and it helps for the growth, regeneration of your body tissues and your cells as well, and your immune system. So some of the good sources of protein, you can get it in your beans, your pulses, legumes, seed, nuts, quinoa, even some of your green leafy vegetables like kale and spinach, especially when it's raw. Okay, so we talked about one of the categories of the nutrients, which is macronutrients. Now there is another one, and it is called micronutrients. Micro meaning small, because your body only needs a smaller amount of it. Now, since your body cannot produce vitamins and minerals, then your body must obtain it from food. And that's why they're referred to as essential nutrients. Now, vitamins, they're necessary for energy production, immune function, blood clotting, and other functions. And then you have your minerals. They play an important role in growth, bone health, fluid balance, and several other processes as well. So you can see that there is definitely it's very important to make sure that your food that you eat has the macronutrients and the micronutrients if you want to achieve optimal health, okay? Now, worldwide, cancer has become one of the greatest thieves of personal happiness and life itself. Over the 200 major scientific studies over the past 25 years have consistently showed that those who eat largely of plant-based foods are about half as likely to experience cancer as those who eat few plant foods. And I mean, you can't really argue that. Evidence is out there, and it really shows that a lot of those people who are on plant-based diet, it really does help them. And even here at the Lifestyle Center, we have many guests who come who are probably not on a plant-based diet before they get here, but we watch them through the transitions of the sessions, and we see an improvement in their blood work. We see an improvement in their countenance, in their energy, and it is such a blessing. You know, I've witnessed that it actually truly works, not just in other people's work, but I mean in their lives, but in my life as well. Now, plant foods, they're loaded with phytochemicals and antioxidants, and they do much more than help prevent disease. They actually help to fight it. So you have this foods, all this, we're talking about the raw, the fruits, the vegetable, nuts that have a lot of phytochemicals and antioxidants, and they're actually soldiers that actually come and fight off these pathogens and whatever viruses and diseases that are in your body. And we will definitely break down what phytochemicals are and antioxidants, because some of you probably don't know what that is. Now, antioxidants, they are substances that fight free radicals in your body. Let's break down antioxidant. Anti means against, and oxidant is an oxidizing agent. So to oxidize is to chemically combine with oxygen. If a chemical element oxidizes, that means that it loses its electrons. And that chemical chain, or they call it oxidative stress, it results in oxidative damage of your proteins, your lipids, your enzyme inhibition, your DNA damage as well. And all of this together, it can activate pathways that are programmed to lead to cell death, okay? So antioxidants, they actually work against that. Now we're also gonna look at what are free radicals. You know, what are you talking about? Now this is a very simple diagram. On the blue, my left side, maybe your right side, you will see that there's a healthy atom, right? Now normally bonds, they don't split in that way, where they're living like a molecule with an odd unpaired electron. That usually doesn't happen. But when weak bonds split, that's when free radicals are formed. So you can see that with the healthy atom, there's 2 electrons, and then you have a free radical on the other side, and that one has only 1 electron. So you can see that free radicals, they are odd, they are unstable. Now, Free radicals are unstable, they react very quickly, and they're like robbers, which are deficient of energy. So what free radicals do, they turn and they start to attack, and they start snitching the electrons from the stable atoms in order to satisfy themselves. But when they do that, they damage the cell membrane, and then this chain reaction, once started, it can cascade and finally resulting in the disruption of a living cell. So the process that leads to free radical is called oxidation, which what I was explaining before in this presentation before the slideshow, excuse me. So you can see that you have a normal cell, and then you have the cell that is attacked by the free radicals, and then you have cells with oxidative stress, or now it's become the cell has been damaged, and that's the onset of diseases. That's how diseases, they start to happen. Okay? And so sometimes you may be asking, well, so where does all these free radicals come from? Well, we'll touch on some of them. Some of the sources of free radical can come from cigarette smoking. Now, did you know that in one cigarette smoke, there's 100 trillion free radicals in each puff? I don't know if you got that. Again, there's 100 trillion free radicals in each puff of the smoke. So those who are smokers, you can imagine what's already happening inside their body. And if you're a smoker and then you're not eating healthy and getting all these nutrients, you're literally on the path to destruction if you're doing that. Now, of course, there's pollution as well. Alcohol is a source of free radicals. You have your fast foods, highly fried, refined foods like fries and burgers, highly refined food, and even pesticides as well. And sometimes free radicals can occur as a result of your own metabolic process as well. And so this is the beautiful part of it, guys. Beautiful part. So antioxidants, right? Where we get it from our fruits and our vegetables and nuts, they usually come with an extra electron attached to it. So let's say that there was 8 in an atom of an antioxidant. Let's say that usually it would have 8, right? But in an antioxidant, it comes with 9. So then what happens is this free radicals, it can actually donate one of its electrons to a free radical, so the free radical can now become stabilized without damaging its own atom. And I think it's so beautiful, because it's like for everything in our lives that the enemy tries to use to destroy us or break us down, God always has a solution. And it's just so beautiful that even in learning about nutrition, you can see how God is working for us, not just out there, but he's working inside of us as well, helping to fight off these things called free radical. And so this picture really just gives a summary. You have the healthy atoms, you have the free radical stealing from the healthy atoms, and then you have the antioxidants giving to the free radical so that it can be stabilized as well. So I think that is just so beautiful. Now, the chain reactions that are caused by free radicals, it can also link to cross-linking of atomic structures. So if there's a DNA cross-linking, then you're left with aging and cancer. If there's a fat and protein cross-linking, then you result in wrinkles. Or if there's oxidized LDL, then what happens is it can lead to the plaques, heart disease, strokes, and things like that. Now, LDL is a low-density lipoprotein, and all of that can lead to that. And also, free radicals can lead to things like cancer, heart disease, premature aging, decline in brain function, decline in immune function, and cataracts as well. We're going to move on to the next slide. Beta carotene. Now, beta carotene is one of the best known antioxidants. The yellow color that you see, or the orange pigment that you see in carrots, in yams, in cantaloupes, this is what's called the beta carotene. It provides as well vitamin A, which is good for your vision. And it's amazing because it enters your cell membrane and it's just waiting there to fight off free radicals that might come in. And so eating your carrots and your cantaloupes and your yams are actually good for you, okay? And you can see here in 1 cup of cantaloupe, you're getting about 3 milligrams of beta carotene. Carrot, 16 milligrams. Look at pumpkin. You actually get about 32 milligrams. Or yam, 26 milligrams as well. And then you have lycopene. Now, lycopene is also part of the carotenoid family. And lycopene is what gives the fruits and vegetables that really nice, bright, red, orangey, yellowing color. And also, lycopene is a powerful antioxidant that fights against free radicals. Again, guys, the solution is in your food because it's free radicals. They can damage your DNA, and you have your lycopene in your tomatoes that can actually help to bring healing there. Now, a study from Harvard shows that a diet rich in lycopene-containing foods may help lower the risk of what? Prostate and other cancers. A report published in the journal Neurology linked lycopene levels in the blood to stroke protection. 55% lower chance of having any kind of stroke. And the lycopene connection was even stronger, 59% when it came to protect against strokes that are due to blood clots, which is the most common type. And we'll look at some of the sources of lycopene. You have your pink grapefruits, you can get about 10 milligrams from that. Tomato juice, 25 milligrams. And what about spaghetti sauce? 56 milligrams. But again, it depends on what kind of spaghetti sauce, because there are all kinds of spaghetti sauce out there, right? But if you can make your own at home, even better. That's going to be perfect. And even watermelon has about 16 milligrams. About 1 slice of watermelon will give you 60 milligrams. And then you have vitamin E. Now, vitamin E protects the outer membranes of your cells, membrane from free radical attacks. So these are other soldiers as well that help to fight it off. You can find it in your legumes, in your grains, and your plants that are rich in natural oils like nuts and seeds, okay? And it's also the most abundant fat-soluble antioxidant in your body. And these are some of the sources where you can get your vitamin D, your sunflower seeds, your broccoli chopped, your spinach boiled, your dry roasted peanuts, mango sliced, tomato raw. So there is a lot of options, you know. And if you don't know about some of these things, we're living a day and age where we have access to information all over. And so by all means, instead of scrolling on Facebook or whatnot, TikTok or whatever, go on Google and find out, hey, what are the sources of vitamin E? Plant-based sources of vitamin E. And then you also have selenium. It reduces the risk for certain cancers, including the skin cancer, lung cancer, prostate cancer, because of its antioxidant properties as well, and also for heart disease and diabetes. Now, Brazil nuts, if you take about 2 or 3 a day, that gives you the RDA, or the recommended daily allowance. And so selenium as well, you can also get it in your sunflower seeds, in your onions, in your grains. Now with the Brazil nuts, you can get selenium toxicity if you're having too much of selenium. So about 3 Brazil nuts, that's about enough for you. You don't want to go over that. A lot of people who have had selenium toxicity have reported having nausea, nail discoloration, hair loss, and the list goes on. So again, comes back to one of the laws of health, temperance. And of course, vitamin C. Who doesn't like vitamin C? I love vitamin C. Well, I can say I love fruits because they have a lot of vitamin C, and I like to eat it every day. And we know that vitamin C's, they are powerful because they're well known for the antioxidant content, and you can find it in a lot of fruits and in a lot of vegetables as well. Vitamin C patrols the watery areas of the body, the bloodstream, or the cell's interior. It's most abundant water-soluble antioxidant in the body, of particular note in combating free radical formation caused by pollution and cigarette smoke. So like I was saying before, if you live in an area where it's so polluted, or if you're one of those people who smokes and you're also not eating nutritious food, you're not getting your vitamin C from your food, you're really not doing much help to your body, you know? And vitamin C also regenerates the reduced form of vitamin E to its active form. Here are some sources of your vitamin C. You have your bell pepper, red bell pepper, and look at that, 175 milligrams. And look at guava. I know my lovely people from the islands know exactly what guava is. It is a delicious fruit, mainly found in the tropics. It has about 303 milligrams. You can get it in your broccoli. Some people think that when it comes to vitamin C, it's just found in fruits, but no, it's actually found in vegetables as well, like your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts. So it's just so amazing. So now we've talked about antioxidants. We'll just quickly look into phytochemicals, okay? Because phytochemicals are cancer-fighting agents, and they also, there's two categories that come under it. We're gonna look at the cruciferous vegetables and the allium vegetables. Phytochemicals. Now, phyto is a Greek word that means plants. And so phytochemicals is just the chemicals that derived or they're found in plants. And you cannot find phytochemicals in animal sources. I'm sorry, my friend. You cannot find that in animal sources. And if you do want to try search, good luck. Now, there may be about 10,000 different types of phytochemicals, and phytochemicals are a plant's way of protecting itself. They help to shield the buds and sprouts from predators, the elements, and the pollutions. And so when we eat this food that are rich in phytochemicals, these protective compounds are actually passed along to us when we eat this food. Isn't that amazing? I'm telling you guys, God is so good. You've probably heard of cruciferous vegetables. These are some of the list of cruciferous vegetables. You have your cauliflower, your cabbage, your Brussels sprouts, your kale, arugula, green beans, bok choy. It's a lot of lists. So if you're allergic to one or can't eat one, you have so many other options that you can actually choose from. And you've probably heard that cruciferous vegetables are actually really, really good when it comes to treating cancer. It lowers cancer risk. It stops the growth of cancer cells with tumors in the breast, the uterine lining, the lung, the colon, the liver, and the cervix. This is according to the American Institute for Cancer Research. It also lowers your risk for prostate cancer, and it also affects the hormones that influence the progression of hormone-dependent cancers, such as breast cancer. So for example, here you have the standard American diet, right? And then you have a diet that contains cruciferous vegetables. Now, estradiol is a potent estrogen that's found in women. If you are eating a standard American diet, highly refined, refined and oily foods like that, it converts it to something called the 16-alpha hydroxyestrone. I hope I said that right? And when it converts into that, then it encourages the growth of cancer cells. However, if you're eating a diet that contains a lot of cruciferous vegetables, then it converts it to a 2-hydroxyestrone. That's how you say it, hydroxyestrone. And that is an anti-cancer action, and it helps to fight off cancer as well. So you can see that the food we eat affects us on a cellular level. Now, in one study, the cruciferous extract indole 3-carbinol was given to women with abnormal cervical cells, the type of cells that gynecologists check for a pap smear. After 12 weeks, what happened? The abnormal cells had disappeared in half the treated patients, while the patients given a placebo preparation showed no improvement. There's a book I wanted to show you guys too. This book here called How Not to Die by Michael Greger, MD. He has a lot of research in this book, and I read part of it, not all of it, because it's such a big book. But I remember there was a part in a research where they had taken cancer cells and put it in a petri dish under the microscope. And so after they put the cancer cells in the petri dish, they kind of got a cotton bud and they swabbed right through the middle of it. And within minutes, these cancer cells, they just all started growing back up, and they filled that line that was cleared out by the swab. So the next thing they did, they got some juice from the broccoli and they did a swab through again, and then they did some droplets of the broccoli juice, and it didn't accumulate as much, and it even took even longer for some of the cancer cells. They were fighting, they just couldn't cover up their lining, and I thought that was so amazing. So this is just on a side note. This is some of very, very good researches that you can find in this book as well. Okay, we're almost done. Don't worry, I'm not going to take too long. Now, I also wanted to mention briefly on the allium family. That's your chives, your garlics, your leeks, onions, scallions, shallots. I mean, these things are not just great in flavoring food, they smell really, really good too. And they're very, very helpful to your body as well. So the allium sativum has been found to reduce platelet aggregation. Aggregation is like just clustered platelets, or hyperlipidemia. And that's just high concentration of fats or lipids in the blood. So garlic helps. It's almost like a blood thinner as well. You can say that. Now, the University of Maryland Medical Center explains that garlic can lower what? Your cholesterol, lower your blood pressure, and we actually give that to our guests that come here. A lot of them can go from between 6 to 12 garlics a day, steamed garlic, and it has really helped contributed to the healing. Garlic also has some anti-cancer properties that can help to prevent cancer and also reduce cancer symptoms in cancer patients. Now, even the Greeks, in the centuries back, even the Greeks, they would feed garlic to the athletes before they competed in the Olympic Games. And Dr. Krause recommends 5 to 12 garlic per day with your meals. You can use fennel seeds to help neutralize the smell, because some people can't stand the smell. And to maximize the health benefits, this is a tip. You can actually crush it at room temperature and allow it to sit. What that does, it triggers the enzyme reaction, and it boosts the healthy compounds in your garlic. And listen, right now with this whole pandemic and with the coronavirus going down, I'm not saying that garlic is like the medication that will heal you, but garlic can help to protect you against getting sick and whatnot, and it can just help to boost your immune system. So this is something that you can incorporate as well. Garlic, guys, it does not cost a lot. It is very affordable, and you can almost find it in any grocery stores that you go to. And you know, it's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, anti-everything, and you can also use it topically as well. You guys will probably learn in your natural remedies class about that. Now, what about supplements? There was a study that was conducted to test the beta-carotene cancer-fighting power in smokers. And what they found was that those whose diet were high in beta-carotene, where they were still smokers, but they did eat some keratin, they had some protection over their bodies. But those who actually took supplements, beta-carotene supplements, they were more likely to develop cancer than the other smokers. So that's really, really powerful. And also, since supplements deliver high doses of only one antioxidant, sometimes it can interfere with the absorption of others as well. Now, vegetables and fruits that are rich in beta-carotene, they're also probably loaded with hundreds of other antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and other protective compounds. So yes, it is better to get your nutrients directly from food source. However, if you are in a place where you don't have access to these things for whatever reason, by all means, you know, you can do the supplement, but taking it from its original source is usually better. Now, again, besides this, most nutritionists agree that supplements cannot provide the same protecting as eating natural foods themselves. Check this out. It is estimated that a single tomato has what? I didn't say over 100. Over 10,000 different phytochemicals in it. What supplements can compete with this? I can't think of none. None. So it's really, really good. And I'm just gonna, we're winding down now. Now, cooking effects, since we're talking about all this raw, it's like, so I have to eat everything raw? You may be asking, do I have to eat my sweet potato raw or whatever? Well, let's talk about it. Now, cooking, it can destroy some of the phytochemicals that are found in some of these vegetables, but you know what? It can also enhance others. So it's important that you want to eat a mix of raw and cooked. Here we encourage our guests to eat more raw than cooked. So we may give them like a 80% raw, 20% cooked diet, or a 70% raw, 30% cooked diet, and it really, really helps. There was a very interesting study I wanted to share from the Journal of Agricultural Food Chemistry published, and it was actually on the benefits of cooking tomatoes, steaming or boiling tomatoes. So what they did is they cooked tomatoes at about 99 degrees Celsius. I think that's around 190 Fahrenheit. And they did this for there was a 15 minutes and a 30 minutes. Now, what they found at the end of this result is that the vitamin C of the tomatoes actually dropped significantly. But what happened was the lycopene, it boosted its nutritional value. And lycopene, you know, is very important in helping to reduce cancer, heart health, all of that. So for some of the foods, that's what's going to happen. It may decrease some, but increase it. So based on whatever your condition is, you can kind of alternate when you're doing with that. Now, some of the best ways of cooking, you want to boil and steam. Kind of stay away from frying. Stay away from frying as well. Boiling or steaming helps to retain water-soluble B and C vitamins. And you also want to cook time to a minimum. The best ways of cooking, the methods would be boiling and steaming. Why? Because it helps to retain your water-soluble B and C vitamins. And like I was saying, you want to limit your time or minimize the cooking time for your vegetables so that you're not killing the nutrient in it. Now, like it says here, long cooking times destroy heat-sensitive nutrients. Okay. Now, what about the benefits of juicing? You probably saw in the juicing class, when fruit or vegetable is juiced, then it goes directly to your bloodstream, so you can receive the nutrients so much better as well, and it contains a lot of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants as well. Now, you don't want to be juicing forever, right? Because your body also needs the fiber as well to help stabilize your sugar levels. So it is a very great option to juice as well, and but it shouldn't take away from you actually eating a fresh fruit or a cucumber or a carrot or something like that. Okay? And so what is your resolution? Well, you want to aim for at least about 9 servings. That is equivalent to about 4.5 cups of vegetables and fruits a day. You want to go with different colors, a variety of colors, your dark leafy greens as well. If you need to like lightly steam or cook your tomatoes or your carrots to enhance its nutritional value, by all means go and do that. And I like to do that for me as well, especially when I'm going to be eating my fruits. I love variety. I love color. Because remember, digestion starts at the sight of the food. Once you look at the food, it stimulates your mind, and it starts to secrete enzymes that are preparing your body for digestion. So remember that even if you're preparing food for yourself or for your visitors or your friends, you really want to make sure that it looks nice, it's presentable, and it's palatable as well. So God's plan, the Lord intends to bring his people back to live upon simple what? Fruits, vegetables, and grains. God provided fruit in its natural state for our first parents. And we can see that before there was any scientific research to back up the benefits of a more plant-based, fresh fruit, vegetable diet, an author on health and nutrition, more than 100 years ago stated this following statement in the Councils on Diet and Food. And we know that God makes no mistake at all. God said in Genesis 1 verse 29, "Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. It shall be for food." This is what's going to sustain you. And especially in this time, this day and age where we're just bombarded by so many things that are breaking down our bodies and destroying our bodies, we have to do our best. I know a lot of people will be like, okay, but what about the GMO stuff, that genetically modified things that are out there now, and what about if it's organic or non-organic? If you can afford organic, by all means do that. If you can make a garden to produce your own food, by all means do that. But if you can't, you just don't have the access or the resources, pray over your food. This is why we pray over our food, so God can bless it. And even though these foods can fill us, God can also protect us from any harm that or pesticides that may be in this food, okay? And so this is the presentation on the raw reward. Now that you've learned something, you can make a decision whether it's something that you want to pursue. And I encourage you, start little by little. We're not asking you to just go all out overnight. Some people have gone cold turkey, but little by little, day by day, God will give you the strength, God will give you the courage, and He will give you the desire to want to pursue something that's more healthy, keeping in mind that your body is, yes, it is a temple of God, but you should make these changes out of love for God, and because you want to not just live longer, but live a more a life that is of quality, that you're vibrant and you're active and you're able to carry out the duties that you need to do, and then you'll be a positive influence to those around you when they see the changes that are taking place in your life. And so it is my prayer and my hope that you can choose life, that both you and your seed, the generation that is to come next, may continue to live and carry on this legacy of a healthy life. Thank you.